Hey guys, welcome back to Wayne's Football Channel. Today, I'm gonna comment on the opening game of the brand new season 2020-2021 of the Premier League. We have Liverpool versus Leeds United. The most asked question for this match is probably why Leeds needed to play high pressing and high speed back and forth with Liverpool for 70 minutes, even though the two teams are at different levels. This definitely gave Liverpool's front three a platform to demonstrate their class. But why would Leeds choose to bear the risk? The answer is that if Leeds don't choose to bear the risk, their risk would become even higher, which makes Liverpool easier to win the game. Actually, the first few minutes of the game show that once Leeds narrowed their defensive units, they made tons of mistakes. For example, a minute and a half, Leeds players sat back a little more. Naby Keita brought the ball forward in the heart of Leeds defense, and yet there were still tons of spaces for him to push the ball into the box. Bear in mind though, Liverpool was facing a packed defensive line at that time. However, it seems that Liverpool is playing as if they're counter-attacking. This clearly shows that Leeds' central defensive midfielder is poorly positioned. Naby Keita has the freedom to push the ball upfield and make a forward pass to his teammates. Playing the ball in the center of Leeds' defense somehow gave Liverpool the advantage in attacking, which also allowed them to access the penalty area freely. Another example would be the penalty incident happened at around the third minute of the game. It's another proof that Leeds made another huge mistake by narrowing the defensive line. The defenders actually let Salah make a flick-on pass to his teammates, even though he was not facing the goal. The defenders clearly did not apply enough pressure on Salah. Leeds defenders were lacking some defensive awareness. Indeed, Mane's attack also showed Leeds' poor defensive ability. He scrambled into Leeds' heart of defense successfully and then brought the ball to the postline with his back facing the goal. Clearly, Leeds' defense did not give enough pressure on Mane, hence leading to a swift turn from him, creating a chance of a forward pass which landed inside the penalty box. As a conclusion is yet again another defensive error made by the Leeds defenders. When the ball fell into the penalty box, Salah was not facing the goal, and yet again, the Leeds defender did not impose enough pressure on Salah, letting him turn around easily and have a shot. And Liverpool were awarded the penalty led by the shot. It's also a lack of concentration level and defensive awareness of coach when conceding this handball penalty. Now, let's talk about Liverpool's third goal, which comes from a set piece. Liverpool were awarded a set piece because Leeds narrowed down the defensive units once again. The defenders did not give enough pressure for Mane, letting him turn easily and play the ball upfield. At last, the defender needed to use foul play to stop Mane from going forward. Pascal Struijk could have headed the ball to the sidelines or the postline, but instead, he headed it out to the most dangerous central area. The worst part about it is that he didn't head the ball up high, in fact, he headed the ball to the ground. From an attacking point of view, it's actually a nice setup or what we call flick-on headers. This created a tremendous shooting opportunity for Salah. Every time Leeds narrow down the defensive units, they cannot find a way to clear the ball. This is because of their lack of defensive awareness. Let's look at another two goals considered by Leeds United. They all come from set pieces. The one considered in the first half, there was nobody marking Van Dijk, creating a free header. The one in the second half, a pointless foul is given out while defending the corner, leading to another penalty given to Liverpool. This is why once the Leeds penalty area is filled with players, or when they sit back a bit, they will panic easily. Why Leeds didn't do well in defending is because they lose two key players, Ben White and their captain Liam Cooper. Coach, who just joined the club, was selected for this match. Therefore, it is understandable why their backline is unorganized at this stage. Surprisingly, this backline seemed to be more in shape when they ran back and defended as a team, explaining the reason why they chose to play high pressing and high speed back and forth with Liverpool today, to trim down the time of narrowing their defensive unit, which further reduces their time of exposing their weaknesses. By doing so, it also leads to a decrease in conceding set pieces like free kicks and corners. The incident in the 19th minute demonstrated that once Leeds were doing a full court press, while Liverpool were playing a fast break, Hernandez was just about to save the ball from crossing the post line, which then unfortunately led to a corner. Then Van Dijk headed in. That is why the full court press from Leeds could reduce the risk of conceding a goal through set pieces and narrowing their defensive units. Above all, it is a correct decision for their coach to use such tactics. To be honest, if Leeds coach Marcelo Bielsa had chosen to narrow down the defensive units instead of full court pressing, Liverpool could have scored more goals. The fact is that the 4 conceded goals by Leeds come from set pieces. The more they narrow down their defensive units, the more set pieces they will concede. Leeds United is not a good team in narrowing down their defensive units. It reflects that Leeds United, a strong team in the Championship, can actually choose to attack actively but not to narrow down their defensive units. However, once they're promoted to the Premier League, the requirements of the whole league have changed. Leeds may need to sit back a lot more. This is one of the problems the newly promoted teams need to face in the Premier League. Norwich, similarly, had faced the same difficulties as Leeds did this year. Interestingly, Liverpool's first game last season was against Norwich, and exactly Liverpool also did score 4 goals at that time. Same as Leeds, Norwich are good at attacking but weak in defending. However, the goals scored by Leeds today prove that Leeds' attacking level is higher than Norwich's. The first goal, Harrison outpaced Trent Alexander-Arnold. He also demonstrated his clinical finishing ability. The third goal in the second half by Klich also demonstrated the ability to underlap inside the penalty area, the ability to take down the ball, and the ability to finish off inside the box. Also worth mentioning is that the through pass from Costa, which landed perfectly inside the half-space area. Although the quick break ability of Norwich is more or less the same with Leeds, which means that they can both attack through quick breaks, which prevent opponents' high-press tactics. The only difference is that Leeds have higher quality attacking players. This greatly increased their chance of staying up in the Premier League. They will improve a lot if they fix their backline up. Moreover, Leeds aren't really that type of team with a high metal press. However, they're very willing to apply pressure on opponents which have their back against the goal. They really did a lot better than the defending in this aspect. They're more suitable to do a high press tactic. The pace shown by Leeds actually made Liverpool hard to adapt to. Therefore, to a certain extent, it also reflected the poor quickness of transferring the ball from Liverpool. Mistakes started to flood through when Liverpool moved their backline in and out of the pitch. Now, let's review how Liverpool conceded their first goal in the 11th minute. At that time, Liverpool's defenders were running back to their defensive half. Trent was not fast enough to catch up to Harrison, and there was too much space for Harrison to dribble into the box and pack back for Leeds. The same thing happened in the 29th minute. Although it was a careless mistake made by Van Dijk, Liverpool's pressing power was inadequate. Leeds could easily pass through Liverpool's fronts and midfielders to organize some fast breaks. Compared to last season, Liverpool could do counter-pressing easily and successfully to reduce opponents' chances to counter-attack. In the beginning of the first half, Leeds had lots of counter-attacks. You can see that Liverpool was not as energetic as last season. When it reaches the middle of the season, compared to last season, Liverpool could do counter-pressing easily and successfully to reduce opponents' chances to counter-attack. In the beginning of the first half, Leeds had lots of counter-attacks. You can see that Liverpool were not as energetic as last season. I think when it reaches the middle of the season, their physical fitness will not be that good because of insufficient rotation. They will concede more goals by counter-attacks in the following matches. Worse still, if Liverpool's front three is seriously injured, the scoring effectiveness will decline. In fact, today's 4 goals scored by Liverpool were converted from free kicks and corners. This shows their class of set pieces. It also proves that Liverpool's victory deeply relies on the star players' personal ability instead of team build-ups. They had not enough pace to go back and forth. The quality of fast break by the front three is low, so Leeds could offset their attack easily. I would say Liverpool's front players were working so hard today. Salah scored a brilliant dropkick. Although Salah was in good condition, he could not enhance his effectiveness in fast break. When Liverpool faced dense defense, Salah always hudged the touchline to provide width for attack. He also gave an underlapping pass to Naby Keita to get into the box. Besides, Mane also hugged the touchline on the left more frequently and created chances for Robertson to get into the box. This was a good tactic, but these chances were reduced by Leeds' full court press. As I've said before, Liverpool had more ineffective chances of counter-attacks and fast breaks because of their aging problem. They couldn't maintain the intensive high pressing as what they did several years ago. They led 3-2 in the first half because they outclassed Leeds in free kicks. In the beginning of the second half, the match type remains the same. After 55 minutes, Mane was exhausted, which had not happened before. Could I say he is tired? Firmino had this problem too, so he missed a lot of chances and let Leeds level 3-3 in 65 minutes. Their defense was penetrated by Leeds. Are the defensive players tired too? The record sustained until Leeds players were exhausted. Liverpool could fully control the possession and created more corners to score. They scored because of this in 87 minutes. Rodrigo Moreno made a careless foul and gave a penalty to Liverpool. Liverpool scored and won eventually. If Leeds had not conceded a penalty, Liverpool would have dropped 2 points. So Liverpool didn't win this game convincingly. If we exclude all careless mistakes made by both sides, including Van Dijk's and the 2 penalties given by Coach and Rodrigo, the result would be 2-2. Liverpool would also drop 2 points. You may say that Salah could score the first goal even though there's no handball. The ball would go into the net directly. Okay, they may win the game by 3-2, but Liverpool did not perform as good as before. But do not forget, Leeds were lacking their main defensive players, therefore Liverpool could only be benefited in free kicks today. Actually, I'm really concerned about Liverpool winning games in the beginning of the season because of their great attitude, passion, and physical fitness. These problems will not arise in the short term. It is risky for Liverpool as this cannot enforce the board to sign more players for reserve. When the winter transfer window closes, this problem will arise and it will be too late. You can still see the problem of lacking high-quality players on the bench to increase the energy on the pitch, although Klopp did substitution. I would say today's match type exhausted the players easily. Klopp made changes in the 58th and the 65th minutes respectively to energize the team. Although Liverpool conceded a goal because of Jones, these changes were compulsory. The team would be worse if he didn't do that. Liverpool's front players are tired because of lacking great players on the bench. We shall not criticize Klopp but the board. They did not invest more to sign players. Klopp told his players to stay wide more frequently to provide more variety of attack. Liverpool could break down the compact defense because of this. This is what I have suggested for 2 years. I'm so pleased. However, the board didn't help Klopp. The underdogs may not let Liverpool control the games. They may learn from Leeds to play aggressively to make Liverpool exhausted. It is difficult for them to maintain their stamina persistently. The problem of physical fitness may arise much more earlier and might land Liverpool in trouble. That's the end of the clip today. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next clip. Goodbye!